So these are go-to games, my go-to games, really. Share the video all over. Subscribe, guys. Subscribe. Our watermark is down there, please. Press on it if you're not subscribed. So yeah, and a bell notifications too as well. So my go-to games, right? And again, based on my opinion, and this is just a small portion of what I'm showing you. I'm gonna show you maybe more like in another video, you know, if I have time. But obviously like one of my go-to games is Skyrim right here. You guys hear me talk a lot about Skyrim and God of War 4 and other games, Infamous 2. But Skyrim really, like when I'm bored, there's a lot of content in this game, and yeah, you just get I lose track of time like when I play Skyrim because it's so good. There's so many possibilities, paths you can take if you're stuck in a quest or whatever it is, a cave or a castle. There's many different paths. There's many other pathways to go, right? The world is huge and there's endless exploration. That's why I keep going to the exploration is just endless. The possibilities and who your character can be is just like I'm still googling to this day certain things like how to become a vampire or how do I restore werewolf form or whatever, or how do I get this weapon or this armor. And there are tons of different armor sets and loot like in the game. So again, all this keeps me interesting. And it goes back to the interest factor. Right beside the Metal Gear Rising, because it's quick and sweet. It's get to the point, fast pace, action packed, not boring. Boss battles. If you guys looking for good boss battles, underrated game right here, Metal Gear Rising. I don't know why Konami or Kojima didn't go back to this. They need to go back to this. Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. Just the boss battles and the soundtrack is, when I'm bored, like the soundtrack can really make or sometimes it can make or break a certain moment like in the game, right? The soundtracks never disappoint. Heavy metal kind of, and there is a little bit of rap and old school hip, old school rock and roll, but man, it's so good. The soundtrack is amazing in this game. As some say, at the score, right? Soundtrack / score. Well, score is if you're talking about movies, but yeah, and it's just amazing. You feel unstoppable like when I play this. Unstoppable. It's just fun, escapism, right? True escapism. Prototype 2, right beside it, again, you feel unstoppable. Prototype 2, right? You're a shapeshifter. You're a jack of all trades. You have superpowers, all around superpowers. Super speed, super jump, flight, super glide. Again, a shape-shifting, super strength. Shape-shifting like your arms into these deadly weapons. So you're the ultimate jack of all trades in terms of superpowers. There's lots. And again, I was playing a boring iOS game, mobile game. I can't remember like what it's called. It's like, man, so I had to get that bad taste out of my mouth. And then I came to this. I went back to this. I'm playing it again for the 7th time. I'm going through the campaign again. I had this for 10 years now. But the 7th time I'm replaying the campaign. It's highly worth it. Up here, let's cross up here a little bit. Spider-Man PS4. Spider-Man PS4 is just so special because when I'm bored, again, the cutscenes is what, and I love superheroes, right? Whether Marvel, DC, especially like with the recent MCU, right? But Marvel, man, the Insomniac does such a great job at adapting Spider-Man. This is truly Spider-Man right here. Like this is truly who, like if you play the game, it's truly what Spider-Man is. Like from a beginning, middle to end, right? But collectibles in the game and the fighting as well. It never gets bland or boring. And as well, you have the DLCs as well. But yeah, Insomniac does such a great job though. Such a great job with their games quality. Right beside it, the Uncharted 4. When I'm bored again, the cutscenes, sometimes you just wanna play, or watch great cutscenes, or the immersion. This is such great immersion. The characters feel so real every time they talk. They feel extremely real. But Naughty Dogs really does a great job of making the world. I think about Indiana Jones, right? You're discovering new territory and looking for treasure and just puzzles. But you know, every new area, every little area you go to level, the level design is so perfect in that it feels real, like a real place, like your actual real place. And that's why, for me, again, based on my opinion, it never gets boring because every area you see stands out. It just stands out, looks so different, right? And mixes it up with stealth as well in there, and platforming and puzzles, problem solving and all that. So Uncharted 4. Right down here, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, because it's filled with content. So you know, like I went on board again. I talk a lot about this, a lot about this, but lots of content, like from, there's at least 200 different cars, and you can choose racer, police side, and there's lots of like events, challenges, time trials, races, hot pursuits. There are tons, and you have multiplayer as well. So that being said, this game, it checks off like a lot of boxes in terms of content. And like I almost never get bored playing it. And like when I wanna, again, you know, offers true escapism playing the game, right? And this is the remastered. So, and right below this, King Kong. Really same idea as Uncharted 4 in that it's immersion. It's endless immersion. The immersion is out of this world. But and a 17-year-old game, 2005, it still feels incredibly real, and it's semi-horror, and play as man and beast, alternate perspectives. So like I always come back to this game. Reason, like, even though the mechanics are not obviously nowhere near as good as now, but still like you can feel the struggle, like of the, you know, like when you're Jack, you really feel the struggle of the stranded feeling. You guys are stranded. So King Kong. Let's come up here to an obvious one, GTA 5. Again, I kind of the jack of all trades with content, story, never boring, right? Lots to see, lots to do, side missions, the character realism, the world realism, again, immersion. So it tricks off all those boxes with GTA 5. So again, like, you know, like you will never get bored with this, never, almost, you know. And then obviously you're gonna have those slow missions, right? But you know, it just keeps on, like you're playing a real world, you know. I kind of like playing like in this real world sandbox, like of our modern world. Very amazing, and Los Angeles, or Los Santos, they call it in the game, amazing. It feels like an actual real city. And up here too, let's go below here, Crash Bandicoot, because it's an endless challenge. Crash is 1 to 3, especially Crash 1. There's, if you're looking for a challenge, if you're bored and looking for a challenge, Crash 1 is the way to go. Crash 1 and 2 and 3, all of them really. It's 3 games in one. And if you don't like 1, you can play 2. Don't like 2, you can play 3, right? But yeah, platforming, and you can't get hit once. That's the thing. And you know, whenever you fail at something, you want to redo something over and over. You know, you're always wanting to get better, right? But yeah, Crash, and you just keep on going, and the level design is amazing. Splinter Cell, right on top of it, Splinter Cell Blacklist, with it being like really my opinion, the perfect stealth game, in tons of ways to approach a certain scenario, right? Yeah, stealth, you know, there's tons of gadgets, weapons, lethal versus non-lethal, you know, but tons of, as well, lots of customization as well. The story, the level design is pretty cool, and as well the platforming. But the stealth really keeps, again, underrated thing about stealth, it really keeps your mind. It always keeps me engaged in that. You're like, I'm always wondering, okay, I know I'll have to go around this corner because the enemy spawns here, or sometimes the enemies will move and they'll disable your ability to detect them, like through like a certain type of vision, right? Or you know, infrared, or ultraviolet vision. So you gotta really think and use the environment, right? Yeah, just on blacklist. And again, tons of content. Again, guys, these are all these are just my recommendations. Go-to games. Obviously one here is God of War. I talked a lot about it. Same idea as Uncharted 4. With a mixture of Skyrim, because there's lots of it's kind of a semi-open world, but it's action adventure semi-open world. It does both great, you know, the chemistry between the characters, the immersion, right? Everything. But yeah, it's just man, like you'll never get bored of this game, you know. It's just like I always keep going. Like when I play the game, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next. That's the main reason why I keep coming back. I can't wait to see. And every new time I play it is like, oh, this is amazing. Every time I see the world serpent, for example, the first time, it's like, whoa, this is amazing. It's amazing. This is. I feel like video games are being revolutionized every time I play it. Right? God of War 4, Bad Company 1, probably my second multiplayer game I ever played. PS3, early PS3 days. Bad Company 1 had something really special about the multiplayer. The multiplayer, because it's very it's not your typical you know, a Call of Duty or Halo or a Gears of War multiplayer. It felt very different. Bad Company 1, where you can go on vehicles. There's tanks, APCs, Humvees, and you know, you got the game modes are rough fun. The game modes, I always come back to it, and there's still a player base for it. And right now, like what, 14 years later, the game came out 08. There's still a player base, so if you go online, there's servers for current player base right now. So that shows you how much people are coming back to this game. But just I played the multiplayer. Bad Company 1, another go-to game. Right below here too. Yeah, I believe my last one, Prototype 1. Prototype 1 because like it goes back to what I was saying to Prototype 2, but Prototype 1 is just that type of game where, again, jack of all trades, you have tons of superpowers. This is tons of superpowers. And then a friend told me about this, but like I had no idea what this was. And then I saw gameplay trailers for it, and it's like, wow, it's amazing. But Prototype 1 is a go-to game because point A to B to C, you progress your powers, you get a lot more overpowered over time, and you get to approach situation differently. Obviously, your shape, you can infiltrate areas, military areas, civilian areas, and yeah, I think Martian Manhunter, like if you guys know DC, think Martian Manhunter, that's what you are in this game, with a touch of Flash, and yeah, but tons, and challenges as well, right? So going back to this, there's lots to do, lots to see, and every time I play it new, I learn something new about the game. The last one, last one, Max Payne 3, a go-to game because it's endless. You know, keeps going and going and going. The shootouts, right? Endless shootouts. The bullet time, utilizing the bullet time to get to the next area. Level design, right? It keeps you into the game, right? You're killing these enemies, moving on to the next area, and you're going to be underpowered a lot because you're going to be outnumbered. There's going to be a lot of enemies. But going back to this too, there is the New York Minute. Quickly, I want to say the New York Minute is arcade mode, so you can replay every mission. Again, so every mission is going to be replayed. But there's a timer, there's a time trial. So every time you kill a certain enemy, mostly, preferably headshots, so you're going to get extra time, a bonus time. And it's just a New York Minute because you only have 1 minute. But, every enemy you kill, there is adding to that minute. There's adding, 5 seconds or 10 seconds. And yeah, so there's going to be lots of enemies. So you will end up with 2 minutes left or 2:30. And yeah, pretty cool. But again, go-to games. Some of my go-to games, I'm going to maybe show more. And I realized recently, like, I'm starting to avoid boring games as I get older, right? I'm starting to avoid boring games because they feel like time wasters. They feel like a time waster, really. But with these, it's the opposite. It feels like you're learning a lot more. Like every time I play these, you know, like you feel the developers really cared about. They put a lot of care into the game, right? The games. But yeah, again, and based on my opinion, let me know suggestions, right? PS3, 4, 360, PSP, PS2, right? Yeah, you guys know. Share the video all over. Thanks for watching.